You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry ChillyBoy Chillson, and this is my review for Maestro. Now, before we get into this review, make sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. Maestro is a 2023 American biopic directed by Bradley Cooper that chronicles the lifelong love story and relationship between conductor and composer Leonard Bernstein and actress Felicia Montalegre. The film was co-written by star and director Bradley Cooper with John Singer and stars Bradley Cooper, Carey Mulligan, Matt Bomer, and Sarah Silverman. So Bradley Cooper returns to the directing chair for Maestro, a story about a legend within not only the classical music arena, but also musicals themselves, the pop culture arena by and large, telling the story of Leonard Bernstein. And while I am familiar with Bernstein and generally who he is, I wasn't at all familiar with his life or his background. And being somebody who really enjoyed A Star is Born, which Cooper also directed and starred in, I was just really anxious to get this film and see what he had in store for us with this biopic. And ultimately, I think Maestro is a very good film that isn't able to quite go the distance and reach greatness that I think it was really on the cusp of achieving. Instead, it settles as a very good effort. So let's go ahead and talk about the positives first. Well, I have to start with our two leading performances because I think they are both absolutely fantastic. Bradley Cooper as Leonard Bernstein is amazing in this film. Effervescent, effortlessly charming, but also really kind of heartbreaking throughout. He portrays so much. He's such a great actor just through those beautiful blue eyes. He's able to tell such a story and once again able to deliver an amazing performance in a film he himself directed, which is a feat in and of itself. Cooper shines in the lead role here, as does Carey Mulligan, who plays Felicia. What a wonderful performance from her. A very understated performance. But talk about being able to convey so much without saying anything or being able to connect so much in her face behind the veil of her words. It's such a fantastic performance from Mulligan. Yet again, she always is going to deliver, but this one is something special. And the makeup department is fantastic here. Now, I was very nervous, particularly with the kind of icky undertones of putting a prosthetic nose on an actor to play a Jewish person. But I will say, just in terms of the makeup work as it is, it's amazing. Bradley Cooper looks uncanny in this film. It's actually a really wonderful job where you can still kind of, it's Bradley Cooper there and you can see him, but it also is like not Bradley Cooper there. And as he ages, oh, the makeup just goes to another level. He looks amazing. This is fantastic old age makeup, fantastic like ear prosthetics. Everything about the makeup on Bradley Cooper specifically looks amazing. Now, I will say there is a wig in this movie on Carey Mulligan in the third act that looks absolutely terrible. It was actually a little bit alarming. It's at this scene where she's sitting at, a dinner or a lunch table with Sarah Silverman's character. I was so distracted. She delivers this amazing monologue, and I kept just kind of like gliding up to that hairline and that wig because it was so bad. But otherwise, hair and makeup looked fantastic. The costuming also looked fantastic. Everything about the technical aspects of creating this beautiful period piece worked amazingly well. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Matt Bomer as well, who has a much smaller role than I had hoped for, but He's so good in this movie. Oh, such a subtle, beautiful part for Matt Bomer to really just shine in, and he takes full advantage of that. The music in this film is absolutely beautiful, and that obviously aids in the scenes where we get to see Leonard Bernstein actually direct an orchestra, and those are some of my favorite scenes in the entire film. And the story is interesting. It's an interesting story, one that is obviously all too common within the queer community throughout history, and it kept my interest most of the way throughout. So let's go ahead and let that lead us into the negatives on this film. And I have to say, some of the elements I'm going to speak about here in the negative section are actually good and bad, like cinematography, because I think there's some moments in this film where the cinematography is absolutely breathtaking. Gorgeous shots. Whenever we're in color in this film, it is just stunning. It's the black and white section in the first act of the film that is very hit or miss. In one scene, we get this beautifully lit shot that plays with shadows so well in the black and white formula. And then the very next scene is out of focus and it doesn't feel purposeful, or it looks blurred as someone is walking in and out of frame, or we're outside and everything is just super overly lit to where stuff is just whited out on the screen. So it's such an inconsistent work with the black and white cinematography. And that's such a shame because we get these moments of brilliance there as well. And then once we transition into the color cinematography, it looks gorgeous. So I would have said scrap the black and white. I think it's an artistic choice to do your first act there and then move into color. But once I saw that cinematography, I think it probably would have just played stronger if we were at color throughout. And then we get to the screenplay. There's some great stuff in this screenplay. There are some meaty monologues that work so well, some beautiful discussions between our characters. But the structure of the screenplay left me a little bit baffled. It leaves you wondering, where is our focus meant to be? And what is the story actually here to convey? Because honestly, I really wish we had stayed longer in the first two acts material. We just kind of get to a point in their relationship where we know, and we don't get to really go through the dirtiness of that. We have this relationship between Bradley Cooper and Matt Bomer's characters early on in the film, and that just dissipates, and we don't really get to spend the time in that. It's the first act material that I personally was most interested in here, and I think that was the interesting story, but we shy away from that and move past it so fast. And then the next interesting story is more focused on Felicia and what she does and how she copes with her life as it is. And again, they don't really focus in enough on that as we move throughout to make those moments hit with the ferocity that you wish for. So by the time we get to the third act, whoo, the third act drags for me. I think we spend far too much time in the outro, basically, of the film, wrapping it all up. We just spend too much time there. It doesn't feel profound as we spend time there. It doesn't feel like we're putting a good wrap on everything or learning stuff, and really, it doesn't get you in the gut punch kind of feels. Instead, it just feels long, like we're just laboring the point out for the entire third act of this film. And I think all of that could have been really condensed down into a nice end cap on the film and let us experience the other two more interesting acts that had so much more to say that we just glossed over. And Sarah Silverman, well, not outright bad. She has a lot of scenes playing against either Cooper or Mulligan, and yeah, she gets ate up. Let's just put it simply. She feels out of depth often against these two powerhouse actors. So overall, as I said, Maestro has a lot of greatness to offer, from the performances. The direction from Cooper is also beautifully done. Some of the cinematography, the music, some of the story elements, but it's not able to fully realize most of those aspects. The story doesn't hit as hard as I had hoped for. The cinematography wanes in and out far too often. and it left me with a film that I think is good. I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad I learned more about this story, but it unfortunately fell short of the greatness I had hoped for heading into my viewing. So if you're into biopics, if you're part of the queer community and want a nice little extra history lesson, or if you're part of the Jewish community and want a nice little part of history lesson, or if, like me, you've ever been a musician or a music major, hmm, then I definitely say check Maestro out once it hits Netflix. It's definitely going to be a part of the awards conversation. These performances are going to be competing for the awards. I think the film by and large seems to have a lot of favor behind it. So it's kind of required viewing for award season two. But for me, it's not able to reach those peak levels that some of these other awards contenders have hit. So that was my review for Maestro. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below and subscribe to the channel so that you are always up to date on all of my latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see Maestro? Have you already seen it while it was playing in theaters? Let me know all of your thoughts either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.